In a beloved S-shaped strip of land, Vietnam is a multi-ethnic country with 54 distinct ethnic groups living and fighting together for national construction and defense for thousands of years. In this historical process, culture has generated an invisible power for the country. The combination of 54 ethnic groups has created Vietnamese culture as a colourful, bright, but simple and close picture. Each group represents a unique colour gamut, contributing to the flawless picture. When visiting Vietnam Museum of Ethnology and the windy capital of the ancient northernmost Vietnam base, people can feel great happiness as if they were going along the length of the country. The Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's Ethnic Groups is located in the town centre of Tay Nguyen, the capital of the Viet Bac Autonomous Region before, which is called Tay Nguyen City today. It is 80 kilometres away from Hanoi to the eastern north, and the city has a convenient transportation network. On 19th of December 1960, Nom Quoc Chan, director of the Department of Culture of Autonomous Region, gave a speech in the construction commencement ceremony of the museum. Colonel Tang Phong, deputy chairman of the People's Committee of Viet Bac Autonomous Region, put the first brick to build the museum at a land with prime location. It was a prime location because the museum was located on a tall area. Its front was opposite the centre circle of Tay Nguyen City with many large streets. Its back leaned the poetic Cao River. In the middle of the area was a garden with many ancient trees and perennials. In terms of Feng Shui standards, this is a beautiful land with its position in harmony with nature. Architect Hang Nu Thiep was invited to Tay Nguyen town to design the museum with a view to construct a building appropriate to the prime land, which met the requirements of its functional operations and sustainability over the years. Architect Hang Nu Thiep was one of the senior of the first architects generation in our country. He was born in Thu Thien Huy province. At his early age, he bathed in natural scenery and dreamy typical architecture of the Nguyen dynasty, temples, tombs, royal shrines, which influenced his future architectural styles. After graduating from Dang Duong Fine Arts College in 1932, he and architect Nguyen Cao Lue opened a design office at 58 Trang Thi, Hanoi. In 1956, Hang Nu Thiep participated in the anti-literacy campaign and gave private teaching in Thang Long. In 1946, he joined the War of Resistance. In 1948, Hang Nu Thiep was elected the first Secretary General of the Vietnam Association of Architects. The Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's Ethnic Groups was his design, and he also supervised the construction. The museum had a building area of 4,000 metres squared, including 5 showrooms connected by entrance halls A and B and 4 lobbies. Due to the topography of the land that was above the road surface, architect Hang Nu Thiep designed a front yard interconnected from the main entrance to the museum door by many stairs. Right in the middle building block, the showrooms were designed above the basement system, which made splendid architectural shapes as a royal architecture with cultural characteristics of Vietnam's ethnic groups. All his intentions in construction of the building left us a very deep impression. The elegance of simple things, strange but familiar, right from the first time visiting this place. Our city is fortunate to have the Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's Ethnic Groups. This is an impressive project, not only for Tay Nguyen people, but also visitors coming here. I find the museum fantastic every time I come here. It creates an impression in space and suitability to the landscape around. Especially some areas can form picturesque views. Not all architectural buildings have this
Mặc dù đã được xây
capability.
dựng sau mấy chục
The
năm
museum was
để
built
chuyển
after
đổi
several
hình thức
decades
ở
ago
góc độ nào
and
nó
had
nhất định.
its
Từ cái
operational
tính chất
purposes changed
bảo
from a
tàng
regional
thuật
museum
Việt
of
Bắc trước
Viet
đây
Bac
chuyển đổi
to a
thành bảo
museum
tàng
of the
văn hóa dân
ethnic
tộc Việt
group's
Nam
culture
sau khi
after
được
being
đầu tư
invested to
và
improve
quan
the
tâm đầu tư và
efficiency
chỉnh trang
so as
để
to
mà nâng
fulfill the
cao cái nội dung sử
criteria
dụng của nó
of
về các phương
representing
diện
cultural values
với
in
tiêu chí là
Vietnam.
phải thể hiện
Although
không gian
designed
văn
a
hóa
long time
dân
ago,
tộc các
the
các dân
museum
tộc
space
đất
still
nước Việt
meets
Nam thì cái
comprehensively
không gian mặc
all
dù
the
đã thiết kế đã
interior
lâu,
and
tuy nhiên
exterior
đã đáp
standards.
ứng được cái tiêu chí công năng gần như là đáp ứng được toàn diện từ không gian nội thất đến không gian ngoại thất.
The architecture of Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's ethnic groups was rated as an excellent work of art. The beauty of the architecture was tied closely to the space and environment, conditions and means of visual arts. The museum's architecture is a harmonious mix of architecture and art, which can be compared to a perfect castle, decorated with interior and exterior works of art such as yards, gardens, trees, flower beds, fences, gates, lobbies and facades, with a suitable distribution of the displays using motifs of the national culture. In addition, colours and light of each showroom and each layout area were also reasonable with rhythmic variation, creating beauty in the eyes of visitors. Moreover, most of the visitors were fascinated by a unique value in the museum. A decorative art element was always associated with objects on display. This is the typical characteristic that visitors could find in the museum. Thus, ancient objects which were motionless and silent could create effective and visual aesthetic to impress the visitors. Architectural effects have helped to create a voice for the objects. Apart from the motif of fringe lines, shapes decorated in patterns of ethnic groups were attached where necessary and reasonable, which created the unique characteristics of this artwork. The Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's Ethnic Groups is a work holding architectural values. Stored in here are many documents and items which reflect the cultural life of ethnic people in Vietnam's ethnic community. The museum is a destination for domestic and international visitors, holding the function of advising the Provincial People's Committee on State Cultural Management. This museum is highly evaluated in terms of architecture. It is the highlight of the Tai Nguyen urban area and has won the top prize in architectural competitions organised by Vietnam Institute of Architecture. We highly appreciate the architecture of this building. The architecture of Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's ethnic groups was built and completed on schedule in the circumstance of war and a poor and backward subsidised economy. However, it received much attention and great contribution from Viet Bac people, though muddy hands and feet are covered year-round, but culture-loving, studious. And the contributions of scientists, dedicated architect and the help of the brother socialist countries, USSR and China. Under the supervision of the People's Committee of Viet Bac Autonomous Region and the efforts of the leadership, staff and construction team, the museum was opened without any derogation of any malicious rumours about gutted problems, embezzlement or corruption. This success partly reflected the positive side, the spirit-shining willpower of the party and people during hardships. In recognition of the merits of the talented architect Hoang Nhu Thiep and the value of the unique architecture, on 10th of September 1996, President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam decided to award the Ho Chi Minh Prize of Cultural Artworks for the Museum of the Cultures of Vietnam's ethnic groups. Apart from the Ho Chi Minh Prize, architect Hoang Nhu Thiep was also awarded the First Grade Medal of Labour and other medals. It was the gratefulness for an enthusiastic architect for his active participation in war, sticking his lifetime to architectural career, and his contribution of efforts and wisdom to build modern Vietnam architecture but imbued with national identity.